Hello there. Today we're going to talk about how to deal with exponents, right? So what do we do when we come across them? What are some good general rules to follow when we see them? And then how to come up with the final answer, of course. Let's get started. So let me first start by introducing you to an exponent. So exponents, as we know, they have the second priority when solving order of operations questions. Let me just grab my laser pointer. Of course, because we have BEDMAS, BE, and then the entire actual arithmetic. But the key point here is that it happens only second to brackets. But we've already spent so many videos talking about how we account for brackets at the very beginning, we take care of them, we seal the deal, so there's really no reason to dawdle with evaluating exponents. And that's going to be the basis of today's whole lesson. How we really evaluate exponents as quickly as possible. We don't really take our time with evaluating them because we've already taken care of the one thing that has a higher priority, which are brackets, right? So this means that we must solve exponents before any other arithmetic operation, like we have here plus, minus, divide, multiply, but obviously after we do brackets. So there's brackets, exponents, and then everything else pretty much. And this is the terminology we use here. So you can see we have base, which in this case is just the 7, and exponent, which in this case is just 3. Right? And we're going to use this terminology to help us explore the phenomenon behind what this actually is. The large base is the number that we multiply by itself. So in this case, that is 7. And the smaller exponent tells us how many times the base is multiplied by itself. Right? So in this case, what happens? Well, we say that it's b times b times b, and then the number of times that happens is e times, and the colors follow the colors themselves. So the green follows the base, and then the blue here follows the exponent. Okay? So how would we evaluate it in this case, pretty much? Well, in this case, we say it's 7 times 7 times 7, which is, of course, 243. Right? So we're doing 7 times 7 times 7, and we do this operation 3 times. So that's how an exponent works. Okay, I have for you here 4 exponents practice questions, and the idea behind this is to sort of show you how does this work practically, and also what do we do when there's signs involved. So try these questions on your own, and in 2 minutes we will take them up, and I just want to see what you can come up with before that. Okay? All right. All right, so just about a minute to go. All right, so we are just about done. All right, so let's take these up. Okay, so first things first, we're going to need to evaluate these numbers, right? So the first one looks just like what we just talked about, the exponent and the base and all that good stuff. So how does that work practically speaking? Well, let's evaluate it. So 7 to the power of 3 is simply 7 times 7 times 7. And we know this, it's quite easy to evaluate this. If we do 7 times 7 times 7, fun fact, we actually just did this on the previous slide, and it's 243. And that's literally all we need to do for this question. Okay? But now we have the situation where we have not just 7, but we have negative 7 to the power of 3. So we do the same thing. But, whoops, well, we don't go all the way here. But we do negative 7 times negative 7 times negative 7, which is equal, once again, numerically, to 243. But there is one more thing we need to consider, which is that we have this negative sign, right? Not only in this case are we multiplying the actual numbers, but we're also multiplying these signs. And we have 3 negative signs, and if you're experienced with math, you know that if we have 3 negatives, the 3 negatives put together, of course, make a positive. So that means, the 3 negatives put together make a negative, which means we actually have a negative 243. So the only thing that changes from here to here, in this case, is the sign. Okay? Now, it doesn't always happen, which is why we have the next set of examples right there. So now we have 7 to the power of 4. Once again, this looks just like the previous slide. So you do 7 times 7 times 7 times 7. In this case, 7 squared is 49, and this is equal to 49 times 49. So that's 49. It's another 49, which is 2401. So this is equal to 2401. Again, if you can quickly pump this into your calculator to verify. Let me write that a little neater. You go ahead and you do 7 times 7 times 7 times 7, and you receive an answer. I did it twice there of 2401. Okay? So that's pretty straightforward. For the next part, we do the same thing, and we use the same approach that we followed in this example right here, which is that we do minus 7 times minus 7 times minus 7 times minus 7. And again, we look at all the negatives. In this case, we're going to have 4 negatives here, 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 and here. But a negative times a negative times a negative times a negative actually ends up just giving us a positive 2401. Right? So in this case, right, we had no change. Right? But you always need to look at the signs. If you have an odd number of negative signs, you will get a negative answer. But if you have an even number of negative signs, the answer does not change, so it stays positive. Right? And we've just demonstrated that through this, 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 and this. Okay? So hopefully that helps quite a bit. Let's now carry on. Alright, now here is the rule of thumb when solving exponents. This is super, super critical. So we only want to see exponents once at any given time. Basically, if there's exponents at the bracket stage, so in the original question, but within a bracket, you evaluate this right before you actually circle within the bracket, right? So you do this very first, and you get it out of the way. If you have exponents at the Q step, so not covered by this bracket simplification, you want to evaluate immediately, again, before circling at that Q step. You know you're doing this right if you don't see any exponents, or of course any brackets or parentheses, at the evaluation step. Remember, the evaluation step is reserved for division, multiplication, addition, subtraction, and nothing else. Okay? So we have to calculate all the exponents mentally, or using a calculator, and write them down as you see them. So I'm going to do an example here to help you out with this. Again, this is a good opportunity for you to maybe pause the video and try this on your own first. And then once you have done that, we will resume. Okay, so I'm going to assume you had the chance just recently to pause the video and try it out. I'm going to go ahead and solve this for you. So, first of all, we circle like we always do. There's a bracket. So, b is equal to 8 minus 5. Now, look at what I did there. I know 2 to the power of 3 is 8, or you can quickly run your calculator if you're not that familiar yet. And you just put it in. Bam! It's equal to 8. And of course, we say that you mentally evaluate at this stage. We can circle within the bracket, that's perfectly fine, and we get 8 minus 5 is equal to 3. Okay? At the Q step, once again, we do the exact same thing. Look at that. 5 squared, we just wrote it directly as 25. There's no extra step, there's no mumbo jumbo. That's all we need to do. And again, we're allowed to do this because we already dedicated all this time to take care of the bracket. Remember, we circled, we bracket, we took out the bracket. We took care of that. There's nothing else in the priority anyway. So why bother with these extra steps, right? You pop in the 25. 25 plus 3 is 28. 28 minus 2. Okay, so it says mentally evaluate, absolutely. And then 28 minus 2 is equal to 26. And of course, don't forget to actually label the bracket. In this case, we don't have B1, B2, B3. We just have B. So here's B. We calculate it, we label it, and we are good to go. Okay? So that is like the Spark Notes version, the Cliff Notes version, the basic version on how to solve something like this. Now, there is one important step. I don't think I cover it here. No, I don't. Which is the checking step, right? Now, once you're done the question, just take out a calculator, right? And literally pump this in. So we have 5 squared plus bracket 2, cubed, minus 5, minus 2. You put all that together, and you actually do get an answer of 26. All right, let me just show that to you there. Okay, super simple. That's all you got to do. All right. In the next part of the video, we will actually solve a sample problem. All right, so stay tuned for that, and see you soon.